for breakfast, but saw a black man, strange black is on the egg, in my kitchen. Her first reaction was, thought there was a thief breaking in. So he hurriedly woke up his mother who was fast asleep. Unexpectedly, my mother was not only not surprised, but also laughed and said, "It's okay baby, he's top. Our new chef." Obviously my mother knew about it in advance, about the appearance of the skip, but the color is not good at all. Feel for this chef. Because the person who hired him was his father. Xu Luo had never met, is also the one she never, now I want to mention it. Years ago, her mother fell in love with her father, but then discovered that I have a family. Even though my mother is pregnant, I still decided to end that relationship and raise Sak alone, disguised until now. Even then, my mother still loved my father. And now her father has passed away. Before his death, he only hired one chef to take care of their mother and child. Therefore, the color does not have any sympathy. Xu Luo, eat quickly. What is this? Have you never heard of oats? It's delicious. You should try it too. Color. Sit down right away. Xiao Luo still refused to give in, even on the way to school. She also forced her mother to dismiss the substance. Mom drinks coffee. I eat Apple Jacks. We don't need a chef. The curse won't stay long. He must have repented, hate for coming here. Loving her mother, Sak Lo is still very young, but have understood many things. But she didn't know that her mother had cancer. Duvu only has 6 months left to live, and Quality is also only hired to take care of 2 mothers and children in 6 months. Now, Sak Luo hasn't realized that 6 months, and she will become a blind child. Mom doesn't fire substances because this family is real. The need for a chef at the moment. But she was also curious. How much money will he be paid to? Taking care of 2 mothers and children for 6 months. Just work for 6 months. Receive a lifetime remuneration. Great. Only 6 months of work required to have a lifetime salary days. He received a great job. Mr. Quality. Yes, ma'am. They promise not. So that Sak Lo knows about the disease. At this time at school, Sak Lo shared a sandwich made by with his best friend. But her best friend didn't want to eat it all. Poppy is her only friend. Both of them are because of circumstances, complicated family, accepted by the school as poor students. Every day after school, my mother was always waiting for Sak Lo at the bus stop. In the eyes of the shadows, mother is a gentle woman, and the most beautiful in the world, is also the one who loves her the most. Therefore, she believes that her mother will keep the promise of dismissal. But as soon as he opened the door, she was overwhelmed with disappointment. Hope, you don't mind if wherever you go, take books with you. And I also recognize the stacked bookshelves. He's still here. Not only did he not leave, but he also made a bookcase. He spoke in a directional manner, introducing each a classic book for mother and daughter. I hate reading. Sak Lo, if you want to read here, you have to register in advance. Sorry, wait, she'll get used to it. It's just a child. I don't understand the story. Of course. Before dinner, mother came to iron Sak Lo. He also brought a card to borrow books made by Chat. But Xu Luo didn't accept it, and immediately tore the card. But, very quickly, she was conquered by Chat's food. Because this man is like a nanny, have great cooking skills. Even so, Xu Luo was still very stubborn. She didn't intend to show her liking with food. But, actually, in her heart, she began looking forward to the next dish. Never let her down. So Sak Lo invited his best friend to his house to enjoy the craftsmanship of Chet. The compliments of the girls are the greatest recognition for him. Make him keep very many beautiful moments every morning. When the mother and daughter still have the car to sleep, I have started working in the kitchen. The smell of food is like copper, the alarm lake for the color of color. It always wakes her up on time. Watch the manipulations, the practice of becoming. The first thing Sak Lo does every morning. You probably have a question where their cost of living comes from. The fact that it is all due to the father have never met their pay. But every time he went to the market, mom still gave him a few coupons. In this way, each payment is saved a few dong. Sao likes to stand at the window and looked at Chat going out. Just a few tens of minutes later, he brought back the apothecary. It also means a meal. Another hearty meal is coming. After just 1 week, Sak Lo no longer objected. The presence of Chet. She even volunteered, help to clean the kitchen. Thank you, little. Nothing. Let me clean up. Be careful of the glass. Xu Luo suddenly began to like Xiao Kao. This man brought her, feeling safe, like a father. So, porridge can be borrowed. A book? Glance at the book loan card. Have been reharvested. He also understood that it was her way. The baby shows reconciliation. So he introduced him to Sack, the disguise of the Three Musketeers. Hope she learns spiritually, teammates and the importance of friendship. Under the influence of Chet, Sack Lo loves reading more and more. The card borrowing small books gradually crumbled, full of classic books. People who used to have no life goals now began to make a wish to become a writer. 6 years have passed. The little girl has now returned into a beautiful young schoolgirl. Her mother, who had only been alive for 6 months, miraculously survived, due until now. As for Chat, he still takes care of Av for the past 6 years. Only, Sack Lo now knows about his mother's illness. The first thing she did every lesson is rushing home to take care of her mother. Therefore, when the school's shift invites her to work, dance partner at the graduation social party, although I like it very much, Xiao Luo still had to find a reason to refuse. Over the years, she lives in isolation and low self-esteem, despite being accepted to Boston University. But her family could not afford to pay university tuition fees. Now, she didn't expect anything in the future. I just hope my mother can live longer. But her mother was much more important. Tuition can be biologically burned. As for the graduation society, she encourages the most colorful to participate. It was one of the great nights, the best of life. That year, she met her father, Sack Lo, in the graduation society. Although they did not eventually become husband and wife, she always remembers the time together. Listen to my mother, Shu Luo. Don't miss out on the graduation society. Why do you care about that? Can you see it? Don't say that. Because my mother has lived longer than 5 years, compared to the doctor's prediction. She has a few more weeks to wait for her child. It's okay to graduate. Dak Luo, listen to me, I promise you. I know that you have never broken your promise. I want to see you for yourself. The girl wore a beautiful dress. Get the main crop of these days is to choose a dress for Sack Lo. On social night, she wears her mother's necklace, and wearing a dress sewn by her own hands. Oh my god, you are really too beautiful. Tell her, died. You're like that little fairy, my dear. The dress is so perfect. Intended to take a photo for the mother and daughter, but the two were in unison. Invite him to take a group photo. Over the years, the mother and daughter considered him like family. They are like a family of choice. There is a family photo. At this time, the boyfriend came right. Time to welcome Sack Lo out. Like a father, see off his daughter to the door. The graduation social session was really memorable. Just as her mother said. For the first time, Xiao Luo opened his heart. Enjoy the fun of youth. At the same time, her mother also expressed her gratitude to quality. Because she knew Sack's father, under the guise of only money. 6 months of activities are prepared for quality. During the past 6 years, the quality took care of the expenses by himself. Living expenses for the family. Late in the evening, Xu Luo returned home. Her mother still hasn't slept and waits. She returned safely. She said to her mother, "This is one of the most unforgettable nights." A few days later, when the color of darkness was gone, who should have picked her up? At the bus station, I know that it is my mother. But, instead, substance. Despite being psychologically prepared, but when that moment actually comes, it is still hard to accept. He didn't say anything, but Xu Luo couldn't hold back his tears. After her mother's death, Xu Luo seemed to grow up overnight. Those who attended the funeral were all her own way to eat her. Someone gave something to help. She forgot her sadness. Some people recount their memories of a deceased to pay tribute. There are also people who don't say a word, because they don't need to say anything. When all sounds are settled, after the substance and the color of color had finished cleaning up, he cried quietly on the board. This is the first time that the color saw that Tian was so sad. His crying was also very solemnity and restraint. What to do next? What are you going to do? You've done your job. I haven't thought about it yet. I have this for you. Actually, it's my mother's. He gave Xu Luo a sum of money. That's the money saved from coupons over the years. Plus, learning bong was enough for Sacy Lot to go to school in Boston. Now, I have to find a way to get to Boston. She found a friend who taught her to drive. Layson used to be a truck driver, but after an accident, he was scared every time he drove, and never drove again. However, driving skills remain, and he is a calm person, not as hot-tempered as the teachers teach other drivers. After a few days of patient learning, Say Lo passed the driver's license exam. vehicles conveniently. When driving with Poppy, the two dared to dream about the future. A person who wants to be a writer. The other wants to build a house, fashion design. Just like us later, upon graduating from high school, overflowing with hope for life. Before the date of admission, Chet and Shu Luo went to eat together. The two implicitly understood and ordered apple pie. 6 years ago, when I first met Chat, Sek Luo asked to eat Apple Jacks, but I didn't even know what it is. Today, 6 years later, they ate their last meal with apple pie. Time is like a closed circle. The relationship between them has closed, again on that day. After returning the apartment, Sek Luo only carried pants, shirts, and some bags, notebook, and prepared to drive alone to Boston. In their eyes is knowledge, gratitude, and sorrow. There seems to be too much to say, but it's all wrapped up in a hug. Looking at the color gradually disappearing into the distance. Then he quietly waved goodbye. At this time, Shu Luo also tried to contain, so as not to turn his head. From that day on, her life will have to be overcome by herself. First time to a school, the university is 3,000 kilometers away. She was like entering a different world. No one here knew anything about her family. College life was just as she imagined, full of energy and color. Dream of becoming a writer is no longer far away. Every week, I send her one letter and a handbag. The season changes soon. The day of graduating from college is also coming. In the most important period of this life, some people are busy entering society. Some people are immersed in the last happy day. And it is in the easy period, lose this direction. Many people have chosen the wrong roads in life. Sek Luo decided to return to his homeland. Based on the address and the letters, she went to the place of the bird. Surprise. Looking at Shu Luo's belly, it was not surprising at all. It seems that having children outside of marriage are engraved in the pride of this family. At the moment, Shu Luo has nowhere to go. She wanted to stay here temporarily. I didn't hesitate to agree. But, with one condition, respect each other's privacy. Before, he had never had a lesson. Expose any personal information with their mother and daughter. And he wasn't curious about other people's lives. Back next to tick, like returning home. Compared to the previous strangeness. Now, Shu Luo understood clearly. When I'm not cooking, I'll play the piano. Or not. Painting. Such a seemingly perfect person also have confusing habits. Usually go out in the evening, 4th and 7th. He only went home when he refused to build at midnight. And the nets are always full of vows. As if he swore he had an argument with someone. Once, he came back drunk and left. Forgot the ticket to bar 3 on the table. That 3 restaurant is quite famous because most of the customers there are men. In order to avoid embarrassment, Sek Luo put the ticket in the closet for him. The next morning, let's just act like nothing happened. Still prepare breakfast as usual. Sleep well, uncle. Also temporarily. He always answered that it was temporary. This answer always makes. Sha Lu asked. After all, something happened at restaurant 3. In the end, she couldn't hold back. Curated curiosity. Sneak into Chat's room when he goes out. But, before discovering anything, she was caught by Chat. What are you doing, baby? Okay. You can go. Go now. I'm sorry. I'm no longer a child. Uncle. Or is he too drunk to see clearly? What are you hiding? Too many secrets. You're just my kitchen. I know that's fine. Once the limit has been crossed, even though he knew that the color had nowhere to go, he still kicked her out. This is the first time that the color of romance, except loneliness in life. She had to sleep overnight in the parking lot. In the morning, she bought some cake, noodles from convenience stores. Suddenly, she met Lasan again, who used to teach her to drive. From the current situation, it seems that they are not living well. After a few brief conversations, Luo Shan turned to leave. But when you turn your back, an accident occurred. Hear the noise. Lasan ran back. Considering the safety of 2 lives, Shu Luo needed to be treated immediately. Calling an ambulance at this time will not be in time. Luo-san also had no other choice. Even though they are afraid of driving, he still pressed to go to the hospital. Along the way, he constantly encouraged Sek Luo. Miracles always seem to come with the Sassy Lot family. Both she and the baby are safe. Even the nurses were amazed when the doctor asked about Sek Lot's family. Don't walk into the room. She stayed with me. Who are you? Suddenly, the two of them looked at each other and smiled. References to the past are no longer significantly compared to friendship. Babies give sensation, responsibility, and joy. not yet born. I believed it was a girl. He even started, find a name for her granddaughter. He continued to go out 2 nights a week, and never tell me where I'm going. Xu Luo didn't ask either. She just quietly packed up the ticket sale, into his bar. Sometime later, the baby returned to life smoothly. Just like Chet had predicted, was a little girl. They named her Isabel. Now, it's more than just a head kitchen but also became a grandfather. Take care of Isabel and her mother like. Used to take care of Sacklot's mother and children. Now, everything in life revolves around the little princess. Xia Luo gradually gave up his dream of becoming a writer. Time passed quickly. Isabel also grew up. Equal to the age of Sacklo in the past. She was even vivacious. More flexible than Sacklo that day. That same year. Lassen married the son, the girl he loves. At the wedding, Sacklo sincerely thanked. He saved me because of that year. Without you overcoming your fears, she couldn't imagine what will happen. As Lassen told her, in fact, it was her mother and daughter who saved him. At that time, he was extremely desperate for life. He bought alcohol medicine to leave the world. Therefore, when I met her, he left in such a hurry. Only when I see Sassy's mother and daughter, under the guise of safety in hospitals, he saw the hope of being resurrected. It is often said, when you help others, in fact, you are saving yourself. Now, everything seems to have the best arranged. After that, Sacklo found a job, working at a coffee shop. Although the salary is not high, but enough to support her daughter. One day he brought a letter. He found the news about Poppy for Sacklo Bio. The two girls have been close friends since childhood. Now, Poppy is married to a wealthy family, different from a single life of Sacklo. Although they met again after many years of separation, they are still close friends as they used to be. But now, Poppy seems to have forgotten. Go to their poor relatives. Her story always revolves around expensive clothes and jewelry. She also enthusiastically led Sacklo to go shopping, as if to compensate for years apart. But the difference in living circumstances makes giving them less and less in common. Poppy invited Sacklo to New York to develop. With the current relationship, she can totally recommend to the rich people. Moreover, Xu Luo couldn't live at all. Life with a chef. Your chef. You know what I mean. Poppy, what's wrong with you? He used to be carefree, but never greedy. My father only gave him 6 months to spend. Fees to take care of their mothers and children. Only 6 months. Do you know anyone over the years? Have you taken care of the cost? Is a curse. He doesn't just work for us. He saved us. Even though I'm not living very well, but I work hard for his daughter. She is my diamond. If for him, it is not enough class, I'm sorry. The happy reunion should have been ended not as expected. Actually, Poppy has no malice. She just wants Sackcloth to have a better life. It's just that the expression is not appropriate. After pondering, she sent a gift of apology to Sackcloth. In addition to the toy that Isabel likes, there is also a pair of diamond bracelets. Included in the box is an enclosed. The color of the paper says that you, always a precious diamond, the best price. Sackcloth finally understood Poppy's heart. Conflict between the two. You have been scattered. One night, piled up, and went home drunk. This time, Sackcloth understood the cow, his oath. It turned out that the person who only scolded was his father. Perhaps he has always lived in the shadow of his father. Maybe that's the secret, deep in his heart. That night, because he had to take care of the fallen substance, Sackcloth forgot to put his ticket in the door of the bar. And the next morning, both of them saw the ticket on the table. The embarrassment turned away, without further explanation. Sackcloth didn't ask any more questions. But from that day on, he no longer goes to the BA restaurant. Time passed. The gray hair of the substance is increasing. Many mornings he had no early routsu to prepare breakfast on time. So now, Sackcloth is his caregiver. After years of looking at cooking materials, Sackcloth realized that even first time in the kitchen, she can still cook quite proficiently, without any difficulties. When not cooking, Sackcloth sews, and when she was not sewn up, she played the piano. Sackcloth seems to have lived as a substance. Sackcloth's persuasion. In the end, he was hospitalized for treatment, but they were surprised to find out Dr. Retreated is the Marshal of the Year, graduated from high school. The two used to secretly love each other. See you now. They are no longer shy, and as confused as before. This is my daughter, Isabel. Hello. It's just that from that day, sackcloth began to be more interested to their outward appearance, as if they were about to attend society. See, you are super beautiful. Tell me, Mr. Quality. Like a little fairy, I love you. When the two of them reviewed the old memories, Owen asked about the child's father, but Sackcloth didn't want to mention to that. Time wheel is always back forward. Missed scenes like the morning light. Even though the sun will still rise tomorrow. But those feelings will only be illusory. The photo of the memory cannot be returned. Through this conversation, they did not resume their old feelings. The health of the substance is deteriorating. After turning into a roll, that cloth becomes a narrator, bedside story. She wanted to leave the pile with a little space of her own. But this time, he didn't want her to leave. Come on, I'll leave you. Have their own space. Sackcloth grabbed his hand. Neither of them said anything more. Until the next morning. When waking up on the sofa, she realized that the substance had come out. Walk peacefully. People often become weird, strange at the funeral. Someone talks about life, often to dispel sadness. Someone told about his memories. Smoke to show their love. There are also people who don't say a word, because they don't need to say much. A man goes black. Suddenly walked over. He said he was the owner of her shop. I used to go there to play the piano, to earn more money. At this time, Sackcloth realized in amazement. Draw out every Wednesday and Saturday night, in addition to making money to support her mother and children. This is something that he has always kept secretive. The last Sackcloth's eyes have also been removed. Sackcloth walked into his room again. She thought that this time he would not be able to lead again. Because he had guessed that he would. One day, Sackcloth walked in. So in the closet, he left a box with Sackcloth's name on it. Inside there is a drawing book to record his everyday moments. Down there is a box. Letter to Sackcloth. Dear Sackcloth, I once said I wanted to understand you. My dear niece, I have always understood you. I'm just an ordinary person. Also have shortcomings. I couldn't fulfill my father's expectations. Hate the blows. And the so. His punishment. I know you think you've taken care of your mother, your children and grandchildren without receiving anything in return. I gave you something precious. The best price in life. A family and love. The next morning, Sackcloth was awakened by familiar leather music tunes. It is the most favorite genre of music. In an instant, she felt like he was back. But in front of her was Isabel, who was make breakfast. Blend out the quality that has never left. Because they lived like Mr. Quality. This is a real friendship. Mr. Thien took care of his father's father, the Sackcloth generation. Affection between people is like poetry, full of flavor, so that we can feel the warmth and the beauty of an idyllic life. At the end of the story, Sackcloth revived the dream as a small earth writer.
Enjoyed the video? Hit subscribe, drop a like, share with your crew, and let me know your thoughts in the comments. Let's talk movies.